Welcome back to When the Dust Settles. Today, we are taking a journey across the African continent because the headlines coming out of Africa right now tells a complicated story. On the one hand, there is tragedy, rising anti-immigrant tension, the continuing threat of Ebola in Central Africa, economic pressures in Senegal. But on the other hand, there is hope. South Africa is step into the world's biggest football stage. African nations pushing toward industrial self-sufficiency, regional cooperation in public health. These stories raise an important question. What kind of Africa is emerging in 2026? Is the continent moving toward greater unity and prosperity? Or are old divisions and security challenges threatening to undermine decades of progress? Tonight, we discuss the stories shaping Africa today. This is When the Dust Settles. Let's begin with South Africa. South Africa is once again confronting a painful reality. Authorities are searching for more than 10 suspects after government opened fire in an informal settlement near Johannesburg. 12 people lost their lives. Several others injuries. At the time of the recording, investigators have not publicly confirmed the motive behind the attack. Unfortunately, violent crime remains one of South Africa's most difficult challenges. The country has struggled for years with gang violence, illegal firearms, organized criminal networks, and deep social inequality that often fuel instability. Each time such incidents occur, they raise difficult questions. How can governments improve public safety while addressing the underlying conditions that contribute to violence? Because policing alone cannot solve problems rooted in unemployment, poverty, and social exclusion. But still in South Africa, let's look at xenophobic and the question of African unity. At the same time, South Africa continues to experience renewed anti-immigrant tensions. Reports indicate that foreigners or foreign nationals are facing increasing hostilities in some communities. Some groups have called for undocumented immigrants to leave their neighborhoods. These developments have sparked criticism from neighboring countries and concern across Africa. This touches one of Africa's greatest contradictions. African leaders speak passionately about continental integration. They promote the vision of an Africa without boundaries through initiatives like the Africa Free Trade Areas. The dream is clear: an Africa connected by trade, by infrastructure, by investment, by shared opportunities. Yet ordinary citizens or ordinary of Africans often encounter suspicion and hostility when they move across borders in search of better lives. The uncomfortable truth is this, right? Economic integration requires social integration. You cannot build a united Africa if Africans fear one another. The success of continental projects depend not only on agreements signed by presidents, but also on whether citizens embrace the idea that their neighbors are partners rather than competitors. Think about that for a little bit. We have Ebola returns as the regional threat. Then thousands of miles away after from South Africa, another challenge is testing Africa's ability to cooperate. Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo are strengthening their efforts to contain Ebola outbreaks. Cross-border medical coordination is being expanded. That's great. Health surveillance is increased. Treatment centers are being established near affected areas between both countries. The loss of lives, including reports of involving children, reminds us that infectious diseases do not respect national borders. An outbreak of in one country can quickly become a regional emergency. But here is another side of the story. African health institutions today are far better prepared than they were during previous Ebola crisis. Lessons learned from the past outbreak and outbreaks and COVID-19 pandemic have improved surveillance systems, emergency responses, and international cooperation. It is a reminder, right, that regional collaboration saves lives. Now let's move to Nigeria. In West Africa, right, Nigeria security forces have, let's say they have rescued hundreds of kidnapped victims doing ongoing operation against armed groups. Kidnapping for ransom has become one of Nigeria's most persistent security challenges. Entire communities have been traumatized. Families have emptied savings accounts to secure the release of loved ones. Schools have been targeted. Travel routes have become increasingly dangerous. While rescue operations demonstrate the state's determination to respond, many analysts argue that long-term solutions require more than military action. What the solutions are, we are yet to know. Communities need economic opportunities. Institutions need strengthening. Intelligence capabilities need improvement. And public trust in security services or agencies must continue to grow. Security is not simply about defeating criminals. Security is about restoring confidence that citizens can live without fear. That's a troubling situation in Nigeria. Africa's most popular country. Senegal's economic crossroads. Right now, Senegal finds itself negotiating difficult economic waters. I think we talked about the situation in Senegal before, so if you have not watched that video, go and watch it. The country faces mounting debt pressures while attempting to maintain development program and public investment. The discussions involve international financial institutions are reportedly focused on fiscal reform and economic stability in Senegal. Mounting debt pressure in Senegal. that one of the reasons of which the former Prime Minister Sonko and President Faye went their separate ways. The situation reflects a broader dilemma confronting many African countries. How do nations build roads, schools, hospitals, and power systems while avoiding unsustainable debts? Development requires investment, but borrowing carries risks. The challenge facing African policymakers is finding the balance between ambition and sustainability. The choices made today could shape economic opportunities for our entire generation. For an entire generation. But we talk about South Africa, right? South Africa just played Mexico today. And South Africa lost 2-0. There were 2 yellow cards against South Africa, 1 against Mexico. But I think South Africa needs to step up their game. But amid these serious headlines, Africa also has reason to celebrate. South Africa returned to the FIFA World Cup stage. And for millions of Africans, football is more than an entertainment. It is an identity. It is a unity. It is hope. We have now African countries competing. I'm going to be seeing Ivory Coast versus Ecuador on Sunday in Philadelphia. You know, so as I said, for 90 minutes, political divisions in these countries, many African countries, will fade away. Economic hardship will be forgotten. People who disagree on almost everything suddenly found themselves cheering together. That's what football does. The World Cup remains the world of African talents, resilience, and passion. So, regardless of the outcome, I know South Africa just lost 2-0. That's a 2-1. Regardless of the outcome, on the field, representation matters. Every African team competing internationally carries the hope of millions who want to see the continent succeed on the global stage. We all want to see African countries succeed on the global stage. South Africa just lost the first game. I hope they'll come back and step the game up to play better in the next game. And I hope the game I'm going to see against Ecuador and Ivory Coast, I hope Africa wins. Now, I want to another important thing I want to talk about today is development receiving less international attention is the growing competition over energy infrastructure. As Nigeria refining capacity expands, countries in East Africa are reassessing their own ambitions. The goal is simple. The goal is very simple. Reduce dependency on imported fuel. Strengthening domestic industries. Create jobs. Improve energy security. For decades, many African nations exported raw materials only to import finished products at higher cost. Refining capacity represents an effort to move into a value chain It reflects the broader shift occurring across Africa. Africa increasingly wants to process, manufacture, and industrialize rather than merely export raw materials. Whether these ambitions succeed will depend on governance, investment, and regional integration. Now, let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at the bigger picture. When we look at today's headline together, a larger story begins to emerge. Africa in 2026 is a continent of contrasts. The continent is confronting violence while pursuing unity, fighting disease while strengthening institutions, facing debt pressures while seeking economic transformation, celebrating football even amid hardship. The challenges are undeniable, but so too are the opportunities. The future of Africa will not be determined by a single crisis or a single success. It will be shaped by the choices made by every day by governments, by institutions, by communities, and by ordinary citizens. Will division prevail over solidarity? Will short-term politics undermine long-term development? Will Africa embrace the vision of a continent that rises together? These questions remain unanswered. These questions remain unanswered. Africa's story has never been simple. It is a story of struggle and resilience, of setbacks and breakthroughs, of disappointments and possibility existing side by side. Today's headlines reminds us that the continent stands at another important crossroads. And perhaps the most important question is not what Africa is today, but what Africa chooses to be tomorrow. Folks, what do you think? Are these development signs of a continent moving in the right direction despite its challenges? Or do they reveal deeper problems that African leaders have yet to address? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this discussion, folks, please like this video, subscribe to When the Dust Settles, and turn on your notifications so you never miss our analysis of the stories shaping Africa and the world. Until next time, I'm Kayoki Pigo Kanwe, and this is When the Dust Settles.